Hey everyone, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to speedrun the game on Steel Soul without using the save quit to bench at all for when you're about to die in boss fights or to fast travel or anything. So kind of a unique speedrun category that I don't think anyone's really made anything for, but mainly this is going to be a sort of guide for if you want to do the Steel Soul run in the spirit of the challenge without save quitting when you're about to die on the boss fights or anything like that, and how to do it quickly so that you don't lose your sanity on those dozens of hour runs where you try to collect all the things and make your life easier, and then you just end up dying and losing anyway. So this is going to give you a fast time, and it's going to be the most repeatable way to win Steel Soul quickly. So it's going to follow like the normal speedrun route, basically, but with a few exceptions. And it's not very optimized because I haven't really speedrun the game very much, but you'll see me doing little movement tricks sometimes, like the jump and down pogo with the Hunter Crest to kind of get me a little bit of extra speed moving around before you get the sprint, and stuff like that. So here, just going through Moss Grotto. Another thing that I wanted to mention real quick is that I will not be using the save quit at all, which means that it's going to be a little slower than if you were to save quit to kind of teleport around and save time. So it's not going to be like a super fast time or anything, but I'm going to be showing off kind of all the speedrunner tricks that I know of, at least all the little skips that you can do. And my room movement is not optimized or anything, but the general route is pretty good for the most part, with some minor sort of changes for safety. So here we're going to be coming up on Moss Mother. I think there is a way to skip some of these like weakness cutscene things that Hornet has, but I'm not aware of how to do them. So you're just gonna have to watch me painfully slowly walk over there. And of course, no Steel Soul run would be complete without almost dying to Moss Mother, so you'll get to see one of the ugliest Moss Mother fights in a speedrun probably ever. This boss is pretty simple. She really only has like two things that she does. One is this dash that you just jump over and you can poker her for extra damage. You'll see I try to bait her over to the right side of the room because she'll always start with like a dash and then slam the ceiling afterwards. If you get her to slam the ceiling on the right side, it's much lower to the ground so you can keep hitting her the whole time. And you see I almost die here, but I'm not really worried about it since it's so close to the start of the game anyway, so I'm just focused on dealing damage quickly. Ambamba! That's one of my favorite little bug voice lines. Ambamba! Punta Ush. Yeah, the beginning of the game is pretty slow. You're probably going to be seeing this first few minutes a lot when you first attempt this kind of run. Unfortunately, there's currently not a great way to get good practice on a lot of the bosses or the gauntlets or anything, because there's no like God Home equivalent like there is in Hollow Knight. So this, unfortunately for me, was just a very difficult trial and error. I must have lost dozens of runs trying to practice for this. Yeah, it's really tough doing Steel Soul without quitting at all, ever. I think, you know, like at this point, probably like 2% of players or something have beat Steel Soul, but the number of players that have done it without quitting back to bench when they're about to die, probably very few. I'm gonna kill this little guy on the floor here so he doesn't get in the way. This is the first major skip. I'm gonna lure this beast fly up here, and then I'm gonna pogo off him. And it's pretty hard to do, but the main thing that you need to do is jump to your full height before pogoing. It doesn't really matter exactly how high the beast fly is, but you have to be at your apex of your jump when you pogo. That's the thing that I struggled with the most, but I figured out that it's more consistent when you are worried about your jump timing instead of where the enemy exactly is positioned. But that allows you to skip the little gauntlet in the Marrow, which saves a lot of time. So if you can get that little beast fly skip, it's really good. It's not necessary though. Another thing here, you can destroy these little moss spitter projectiles with a little slash. So as you jump up there, just break his projectile and you can knock him off. And if you jump up on the left side of that chute, it puts you on the side with the breakable wall, where we're gonna get this relic. This is gonna be really important later, so don't forget to pick up this relic here. This is gonna be really painful if you end up realizing you didn't pick this up. And you can jump under this guy if you just run straight forward. And there's another little skip you can do here where you taunt, bring this little fly over, and then you can pogo off of him if he cooperates, and you can get up to the silk spear easier. Alright, close your eyes, flashbang incoming. Yeah, I warned you. Okay, so first power up of the run. This one's going to be pretty important. It allows you to kill things a lot faster. This motherfucker down here always hits me when I'm trying to break the wall. Just tank that damage. Surely this won't matter later when I almost die to Bell Beast or anything. I would never die to Bell Beast. Yeah, just doing this little pogo jump thing to move a little faster. The Bell Beast is also pretty simple, like Moss Mother. He only has a couple attacks. Here, if he gets out and sits on the ground, he's going to crawl forward. And if he rumbles the ground more intensely or whatever, and he doesn't like get out and lay on the ground, he's going to jump. And he also like roars before he jumps. So when he jumps, you can just stand in the middle underneath him and jump and hit him with an up slash. This is the phase transition here. You come up out of the middle and like rain bells. You can actually hit the bells to knock them out of the way. I was trying to demonstrate that and I ended up taking damage. So yeah, just be careful with that. You can actually hit him when he pops out in the middle like this and then jump over the bells, but I'm pretty scared of dying just because I'm one hit away from death and don't want to lose my Steel Soul run, obviously. So I'm being extra careful here, missing some attacks. You can pogo when it's crawling on the ground like that. And the Silk Spear will finish it off. There's actually a skip that you can do on this boss too, where you like skip that lengthy bell ring phase transition, but I don't know how to count the hits for it, and I don't really care that much. So I'm not going to demonstrate that one here. Then we'll just have to do a little quick platforming section for the Silk Heart here. This is required. It helps if you like vault off the sides. It helps you move a little faster. And I fucked up the jump. Yeah, just ignore that. Another flashbang. Gets pretty annoying when you get the fade to white every time you get a new power up. This Silk Heart will let us basically use the harpoon and the grappling hook or whatever, the claw line, and the needle in always, so that's nice to have. And it's the only one we're gonna get. Still having to do the little pogo dash. Haven't got the sprint yet, but that's coming up next. A little trick you can do here to avoid that lengthy bell animation is you can hit the lever and then leave the room and come back, and it will open the door instantly when you're back in the room. I hit that lever, but you don't need to hit it because you'll never go down there. And another jump messed up. This is why I'm not a speedrunner. Here, if you do a little down pogo to the right, it lands you perfectly on the platform. It's something I found, so a little convenient trick so you don't have to like look down every time. Here we'll go up and ignore this enemy. You can knock his projectile back at him if he throws it at you, so it doesn't kick you off this elevator. You can bounce off this guy's head. He gets in the way. And that guy. And that guy. Just pogo off at everything. It's more fun that way. Here you can do another very tiny skip. If you get this guy to jump and you pogo off of him, it lets you skip that little section to the right, but it probably wasted more time because I messed it up the first attempt there. Just for fun, honestly. Here, watch out for the little crawling ant at the top. If he's all the way at the edge, sometimes it can be difficult to jump over, so you can like pogo him or wait a little bit. I open up this room with a silk spear and deal some damage. Here you can hit each of these ants once and then silk spear both of them, but they don't really cooperate with me here. They take 4 hits and the silk spear does 3 hits worth of damage. Same thing with the flying ants. If you can silk spear both of them, again, they're not really cooperating for me. And this guy, a few hits and then 1 hit onto the flying ant, you can silk spear both of them like that. And that room's really easy. Same thing how you do the little down pogo to the right before, you do it to the left here and it gets you all the way to the bottom. You can skip all the enemies and spikes and everything. And then finally we get the sprint here. Incoming flashbang again, close your eyes. There is a little cute movement tech you can do if you want arthritis. You can spam jumping and dashing very low to the ground. It's actually slightly faster than just holding down sprint. I do it sometimes in this run, but I don't always do it because it's really annoying to input, essentially. I don't really care that much about optimizing the time. The big time savers are going to be in other places for this run, so jump up here and then hit this lever, you can go fight. The first lace fight. This boss is also fairly straightforward, at least on the first time you encounter her. She only has like 4 different moves or so. If she holds her pin up in a straight like horizontal line like that, she's about to dash at you with it and you can just jump over. If she puts it down at a slight angle there, like you can see there, she's about to do her 3 slashes kind of approaching you. And you can jump over that one too. This is a new move that gets introduced in like her second phase here. You just get out of the AoE and just walk out of it and hit her after she lands. And this is the last move. When she crouches down and puts her pin behind her, that means she's about to do a little triangle jump, and you can stand either underneath the tip of the triangle in the middle and hit her at the top, and then when she comes down, or you can run out to the side and hit her when she lands. That one's pretty easy to dodge, but basically just sit kind of medium range from her, wait until she puts her pin in the position that indicates her attack, and then either jump over it or walk underneath it in the case of the jumping attack that she has. And the phase 2, or the second encounter I should say, in Act 2 with Lace will be pretty similar. A lot of the same moves, just faster, and they have a little bit of additions to them, and they do 2 damage instead of 1. And I'll kind of walk through the best way to dodge those attacks as well. Not that I always do them correctly, but do as I say, not as I do type of thing. Here I make a little route choice that kind of wastes some time, a little bit, but I think it's worth it for the safety on Steel Soul especially. This warding bell here will make you invincible while you're binding. So if you're healing and you get caught out on your heal, at least you don't lose 2 masks in addition to all of your silk. This way you can lose all of your silk but live to fight another day, live to heal a second time. It just gives you a little bit of extra breathing room. And if you get the heal off, sometimes the warding bell will still like last a little bit of after the heal, and you'll successfully block damage and get the heal off, which is really satisfying when that happens, even if it wasn't necessarily a good heal to begin with. So I'm going to equip the warding bell here at this bench, take the Spines quest. And there's another thing you can do with the Spine quest that speedrunners do, and I don't really think I'm doing it correctly. This is probably one of the things that I'm worst at, like this and the mist. Like collecting these spines you can do really fast if you know how to like jump up and hit them out of the air, and like exactly when to hit them, and you get the right RNG and stuff like that. I do like a little bit of the tricks. Here you'll see me jumping up and hitting the horizontal ones like that, but I'm not super good at it. And there's this one spine that flew up in the air that I'm trying to get, but eventually I'm just gonna give up on this because it looks like it's stuck up there for good, unfortunately. And I kill these enemies sometimes just because they kind of get in the way of collecting the spikes. Yeah, I like that. A bit messy, but those floating enemies you get a lot of silk off of because they just kind of stand there. I didn't get those spikes up there because I was too slow after healing. And I jump into the explosion as well. Again, this is why I'm not a speedrunner, but this is just meant to be kind of like a guide for players looking to do the Steel Soul run. If you're good at the game, like, or Hollow Knight or whatever, if you've got good reactions, or, you know, you've played games like this before, like, this is a pretty feasible way to do it. It's just gonna take some practice. And there I got the all the spines that I needed. So I'm going back. I'm not gonna use the save quit there. If I were a speedrunner, I would save quit to this bench here. But this run is no quits to main menu, no bench warping, no bailing out when you're about to die to a boss. It's Steel Soul as God intended, basically. I'm not saying that Team Cherry didn't expect for people to quit the bench in Steel Soul. Like I said, I think most players that get the achievement probably do it that way. And there's no shame in that, just to be clear. But this is only for prideful people that want to flex and do it like in the true spirit of the challenge, basically. Just a complete challenge run where you can't die and you can't go to the bench. Obviously, I'm still taking benches to heal, but I'm not going to quit if I'm gonna die. So there's another skip you can do here with 4th chorus if you have enough silk to heal, which you can build on him after he roars. Very important, after he roars. I've died in the lava, or not died, but fell in the lava. You can jump, heal, then float, dash, float, like that. So again, you sprint jump, and then you heal at the top of your jump, and then you float when you're off screen, and then you dash to reset kind of your float fall speed, and then you float again. There are other ways to do it as well. but that's the way that I learned how to do, so. You can look that up if you want, if you're having trouble with the timing or whatever. It takes a little bit of practice. I fail that all the time still. It's honestly kind of lucky that I did it first try here. And here you can see me doing the jump dash thing, because there's a really long flat room, and it takes a while to just regularly sprint across. So I'm just doing a little bit of the movement tech here. I'm not even sure if I'm doing it right, honestly, though. Yeah, this is a meme right here. I miss 3 times and I just kind of rage and hit the ceiling a bunch, so I'm just tilted here. I just thought it would be funny if I like just smacked into the ceiling a couple of times. You can ride the airstream all the way to the top and dash over these guys, the big ones. They do 2 damage, they're pretty scary. When you set off the orange bomb thing there, if you wait a second and then jump over to like the top right or top left and float down, you can avoid the explosion without having to like jump back down to a lower platform. That saves you a little bit of time as well. Jump over these enemies. This guy that throws the fucking bells always gets in the way, of course, because he backsteps and has the bouncing bell projectile from hell. So yeah, just do your best to get over them. If you want, you can take a bench here in the halfway home. If you go to the right here instead of going to the left like I do, you can sit in the bench there if you're not confident in this little arena here. But these enemies are really straightforward. They just kind of swing in front and they like stand still, so I'm just gonna farm them for a heal. And this guy I'm gonna Silk Spear. Here I misread his attack twice, but doesn't really matter. He's pretty easy either way. Silk Spear that guy and then just go down all the way to the bottom left here. Here you can just jump up, do the little platforming all the way to the top. It's kind of fun. I mess up the pogo and jump here, but you can pogo, get a little bit of height off the spikes, go faster. Here you just run past the enemies. I'm doing the jump dash thing again to kind of get some extra speed to dodge them. And then you go down to the bottom left again. We're gonna fight Moorwing here. This route that I'm using does not use the fleas to skip Moorwing. I think that was patched out, so I'm just fighting Moorwing here. Moorwing has likewise like only like 3 or 4 attacks or whatever. It has this like screech and then do a like quick slash in front of him that does 2 damage. It has this dive bomb move that does 2 damage. All contact with him does. And then it can shoot a little projectile that goes down and slides along the ground. In the second phase he gets new stuff. He has this like one where he goes upside down and shoots the converging boomerangs. You just jump over them on the floor. And he shoots 2 boomerangs now, and the second one curls back around, so watch out for that. You can either stand in the middle of the circle, or you can go to like the bottom corner next to the boss to dodge it. And also when he dashes in the second phase, he will shoot out a little boomerang at the end of his dash as well, similar to how the boomerang move works in the first phase. The boomerangs aren't too bad to get hit by though, they only do 1 damage now after they patched it. So here is our first little town of interest that we're going to be using. And we have to save them first. We have to defeat Widow. So we're going to go through Shellwood to get to Widow. And we are not going to do Sister Splinter. There's actually a really cool skip that you can do in what I like to call the Garama room, where you say Garama like 20 times and then you get to skip Sister Splinter. So here you just sprint jump all the way around the room, then go up and do it back the other way. This room's pretty fun. That sprint jump at the bottom left of this room can be kind of tricky, but just wait to sprint jump until like right as you're falling off the platform. These guys take 3 hits or 1 spear. These guys take 5 hits or 2 and a spear, so I'm gonna do 2 and then spear them. Here, I'm gonna hit them twice each and try to spear them. And then just hit this guy 3 times. Boom, there you go. That room's really easy. Those little stick bugs can be kind of annoying if they do their jumping spin move. I think it does 2 damage and it makes them invincible. It covers a lot, so just give them some space. Don't get overconfident, I guess. Being trapped in this elevator makes me freak the fuck out. Here you can just jump over this whole flower thing if you want, if you don't like the pogoing. Although you better get pretty comfortable with Hunter Crest Pogo because of this part right here. You can do this really quickly if you have the pogo locked in, but don't be sad if it takes some practice to get that speed like that. Here's the Garuma room, as I call it. You jump up into this corner here, and you spam the right stick press to taunt the enemy all the way down here. Once it gets to the same height as you, jump down to the other platform and keep calling it over. Make sure it gets well past this little lip, and then you can de-aggro it and it'll float all the way up. And once it floats to like your jump height, pogo off of him, and then jump down, pogo this one, and dash across. And now you've skipped Sister Splinter, basically. You need to do a little more platforming, especially in this next room. Lots of platforming. Again, it's going to help if you're really comfortable with the Hunter Crest Pogo, because you're going to have to use it a lot, especially in Shellwood. Here I'm attacking up. Oh, you can bounce off this guy if you miss, so you don't have to restart the whole room. Bounce off the enemy, it brings you back up. But yeah, I'm doing vertical slashes on those branches in there, because if you do the horizontal ones forward, it pushes you back and you can fall back onto those little flower trap enemies that jump out at you. So attacking vertically just stops you from getting knocked back. A little trick you can use. And now we've successfully skipped Sister Splinter. We've got the wall jump. So just go up to the right here and proceed through the rooms, and then we're gonna go into the Widow boss fight straight away. Sometimes these little water fuckers hit you, but it's not that scary. Here you can just jump across the flowers if you, now that you have the sprint and the float. Kind of just ignore that stuff. There is an enemy in this room, so you jump over him. Sometimes he comes out. He didn't this time. And here I was used to kind of doing the damage boost past this guy, but I decided since I'm on 1 health, I should probably heal just in case, and I just ended up waiting for the cycle. I recommend just waiting for the cycle instead of being impatient like me. You can skip it by eating the damage, but it's not really worth it on a Steel Soul run. I'm gonna talk to Widow, start the fight. Widow is one of the first kind of harder boss fights. This has definitely ended a few of my Steel Soul runs before I got really comfortable with it. The best times to hit Widow are during the like vertical bells. The diagonal ones are really annoying. This move is a good time to heal. You can pogo off those spikes to give yourself some extra air time, or wall jump off the side. The diagonal bells still give me trouble when I'm trying to like spam damage on Widow here. But yeah, pogoing off the spikes give you some time. When you see Widow in the air in the first phase, you can jump up and attack upwards and hit her, and then she'll jump down diagonally at you. If you go right underneath her, it always kind of goes, the move goes diagonal, so she'll miss if you're right underneath her like this, and then you can jump over the horizontal part of the move. And you can also heal then if you need to in the air. That move does 2 damage though, so you really don't want to get hit by the vertical like jump diagonal slash thing that she does. Second phase, she's gonna do lots of more bell attacks. She can do up to 3 bell attacks, and then she will dash straight forward at you. The important thing to do is always watch Widow here, and when you hear like the shing and you see Widow crouch down, have the blades come out, you have to be ready to jump. The 2 diagonal bells are a pretty annoying move to dodge as well, because they come at varied timings. One thing that really helped me get more consistent in this fight is hitting the diagonal bells away you can hit them on their way down at you and knock them away. That gives you some extra space if you're trapped somewhere in a corner, or you don't want them bouncing off the walls. But yeah, watch out for the bells. The diagonal bells will miss you and then bounce off the wall and fall back down onto you, so you should have to be mindful to kind of stay away from the walls during the diagonal bell moves. And defeating Widow here will give you the Needle In, and this is really important for the next area that we're going to, the Mist. And I actually had a horrible Mist on this run. There are some tricks that you can do in the Mist to kind of speed it up, and you don't have to like play the Needle In every time. I mistakenly thought I went through one of the rooms correctly and ended up completely like resetting it or whatever. I don't know exactly what happened, but I ended up doing like 2 or 3 times as many rooms in the Mist as I needed to, so that killed like a ton of time. But you know, at the end of the day, it's a Steel Soul run, and as long as you're being safe, that's what matters the most. The speedrun achievement is 5 hours, so you have plenty of time. If you do it this way, you will not run out of time. So even if you're doing it on like the normal mode instead of Steel Soul, you can die tons of times and still beat that 5-hour mark. So this kind of doubles as a tutorial for getting the speedrun achievement. At the end of the day, you do have to learn the bosses though. If you do it this way, not having any mask upgrades, not having like the double jump or the tools or anything, or the crests, it makes the game significantly harder, especially because Hunter Crest, a lot of people find the pogo difficult, and pogoing off of enemies, especially like in the gauntlets with the flying enemies, it's critical to surviving. So it's going to be a challenge like to practice everything. And this, for reference, took me like a week of just constant failures. I must have failed like dozens of times on this Steel Soul no quitting to bench speedrun thing. Here you can hit this lever and quit to bench, or like quit to main menu, and it'll put you right back where the bell is already done ringing if you're trying to just do like a regular speedrun. But again, in the spirit of no quitting to main menu ever for Steel Soul, I am not doing it at any point, even if it's no risk of dying or anything. I'm still not going to use it, just for my own sort of fun, I guess. Here, we need to go back to Bellheart now and run some errands. This is gonna be the part where we use that relic that we picked up. Very important. So go into the relic store here, or the needle shop, either way is fine. The needle upgrade's free. But we're gonna stop here, sell the relic to Scrounge, and that'll give us just enough rosaries for the entire run. And then we'll jump up here and get the needle upgrade. Fun fact, I actually didn't know that this Pin Master guy is here for my first blind playthrough of the game, and I did not upgrade my needle a single time until I was already in Act 3. So that was pretty rough. I thought, wow, this game's really hard. I wonder when I get the upgrades, but I had just been missing them for the entire. I could have had 3 needle upgrades prior to Act 3, and I did not even realize. I actually had nearly completed like the huge collection quest for the third, or for the third upgrade, the second pale oil, and I still had no idea where to actually take the reward. It was funny. Here, make sure you unlock the Bellway station down there too. Very important. Unlock that Bellway station. That's what the money's for. And don't forget to do that, or you will have to backtrack a lot. So here, going through Greymoor once again. You can hit this lever to open the shortcut and go back in. It takes less time. Just platform all the way to the top of this room once again. And now that we have the wall jump, you can go out the top right of this room instead of going left. And this will take you above the halfway home, and then it allows you to get to Sinner's Road. And that's how we're going to be getting into the Citadel, is through Sinner's Road and the Mist. You jump on top of the elevator here, bounce on the balloon, and Sinner's Road is at the top right of this area here. There's a way to run through the first room of Sinner's Road where you don't have to deal with the cockroaches at all. If you go up here on this cage around the first cockroach, go down around the second one, and then jump atop the cages all the way through the rest of the room, you don't have to deal with any of those fucking cockroaches. They're really scary. And here I'm going to do what's called the Chalamet Skip, and I'm not going to do it successfully. It's probably faster for me to go through this room on the right in this run because I messed this up so many times, but I wanted to demonstrate, since I was planning on making this into a guide, I wanted to show that this was possible. Also, it's marginally safer for a Steel Soul run because that room on the right is called Hell Room for a reason. There's a ton of flying enemies. They can kill you very easily. There's difficult platforming, sort of, and then you can fall in the maggot water and lose your heal. It's just a very dangerous spot for a Steel Soul run, and at this point you're like 30 minutes into the run. You don't want to die here, or it's going to be pretty painful, especially if you've been smelling the roses and collecting items and stuff. But for the Chalamet Skip, you jump onto this platform up here on the right. As you can see me unsuccessfully doing, try to pogo off this guy and then float, pogo, and so on until you can reach the cage above him to wall jump off of. Yeah, he's pretty like squirrely. Like he likes to like fly away and towards you and then stop randomly for his attack. So it can be pretty damn challenging to get on top of him here. And you'll see me fail this like 10 times in a row. Again, no shame in failing this skip. It's very hard. I think even probably speedrunners would struggle with this. I haven't watched a ton of speedruns, but I bet this one's not very consistent for a lot of people. Maybe like the best players in the world would never struggle with this, but I think it's very hard, and I have beat, you know, pure completion and hitless on every boss in Hollow Knight and whatever, and I beat all the optional content in Celeste and everything, so I'm pretty good at platforming. But yeah, that spot is just tough. Here you can pogo off this enemy and jump up out the top of the room, and then here just go all the way to the left of this room, and you can break a wall to enter the mist. There are a couple tricks in the mist as well. One thing that I really like to do, I haven't really heard people talking about this, is when you use the needle in, it doesn't have to consume silk. It only consumes silk if you hold it down for long enough. But you actually don't have to hold it down that long to get these butterflies to move in the correct exit direction. You can hold it down for just slightly less than when it would consume silk. I don't see any butterflies here, so I just go up and I assume that that's the correct exit. I mistakenly assumed that. Here the butterflies are going up, so go up, just follow them. I'll show you a technique to deal with the little shades as well. But yeah, here just only hold your needle in until you see the butterflies move up slightly, and you can let it go and you won't spend silk on it. It's important here on a Steel Soul run to maximize the amount of silk that you hold on to, especially because these wraiths do 2 damage and they steal silk from you. It's very important that you stay stocked up on silk. Here I go to the right, thinking that's the right room. In a speed run, the trick that people use is that the third room is always horizontal. So if the room only has like one horizontal exit or whatever, you can just use the horizontal exit and it'll be the correct path. But I made a mistake at some point in here, so it's all just screwed up, and then I have to use the butterflies in every room essentially now because it's just totally messed up. I don't really know what room I'm on, and it ends up taking me forever. So try to run past the shades when you can if you're full health and you're not really scared of them. You can see I'm pogoing them here. If you need to deal with them and it's safer to do this, it also gives you silk. You can wait until they scream and then jump and pogo off of them. Again, this is where being really comfortable with Hunter Crest Pogo is very beneficial. I kind of mess it up there. But if you have the first needle upgrade, it takes 5 hits to kill them, or 2 hits in a Silk Spear, because it does the Silk Spear does 3 damage. So if you have enough silk and you're full health or whatever, you're not worried about it, pogo them twice and then Silk Spear them. If you want to heal off of them, or you're trying to build up silk in case you need to heal, then you can just pogo them 5 times. This is the most consistent way that I've found to kill them without getting grabbed. When you successfully pogo them, it makes it impossible for them to grab you. So here I'm building up silk because I'm missing 2 health and I want to heal. So I'll pogo it 5 times. And the timing is really consistent. The only thing you have to adjust is like the height and the direction, I guess, that you're pogoing. They sometimes are slightly higher or lower and come in at an angle, so just being really comfortable with the pogo will save you here a lot. You gotta watch out for the traps. There's the bear traps and then the pressure plates that will spawn spikes from the floor, and then there's spikes that will fall from the ceiling. You definitely want to avoid the traps here and the enemy's damage at all costs, because it's not easy to heal in this area. You have to be really good at that little pogo technique that I showed off. You have to be really good at killing these guys without getting hit, because they deal 2 damage and steal silk from you. So if you get hit, you're in a really, really bad situation for a Steel Soul run where you could just lose your run instantly. So I'm going to activate this trap by hitting it. And you can activate the falling spikes as well by hitting them. I'm just going to run past them here because they're not in my way. But yeah, as you can see, this mist is just totally fucked. Like, if I did this correctly, I would have cut a few minutes off the run, probably. I didn't time it, but yeah, just an awful mist. This area is a nightmare, honestly. And here I thought I had made it. I thought I just made it to Exhaust Organ, but I didn't. That was actually the like 3rd or 4th room or whatever. It had fully reset. So I'm not out of this yet. I'm only like halfway through it. And I decided to nope out of there from that Wraith. I'm getting kind of stressed about how long it's taking me to do this mist. The more rooms that you go through, the more frequently it spawns these Wraiths, and then it just becomes a huge mess trying to navigate this place. So I'm getting a little nervous here. And I just want to be out. Learn from my mistakes here, and just be really patient in this part on a Steel Soul run. At the end of the day, surviving is a lot more important than getting a good time when you're going for this Steel Soul no bench speedrun. So take your time. Yeah, you can see I'm like really rushing through this area, just trying to do 2 hits on a single cycle of the race, and just I'm like panicking almost a little bit here. The adrenaline gets going and you just make bad decisions. That's one of the big things that you have to get used to, is doing a speed run without dying is one thing. You effectively have to do the same thing, except you can use like the bench save quit or whatever, right? And I chose not to do that. The problem is that on Steel Soul, there is no, oh, it's fine if I rush through this part and I don't quite get it, and I just die, it's fine, I'll lose like a couple minutes. No, you lose an hour when you die on Steel Soul. You lose an hour. And it's not as painful as it could be, like doing the 100% Steel Soul achievement. I did use save quit sparingly, of course, for that when I really needed it, because I was not going to redo 20 hours of gameplay to get all the collectibles and stuff. That's just not fun, in my opinion, and I don't know if it was considered properly when they made that mode. But yeah, I don't know, I don't have any butterflies in this room or whatever, like, I don't know. I'm just completely lost here in the mist. It's awful. I think I lost like 5 minutes here, just being stupid. Don't be like me, just follow the butterflies. Don't try to do all the tricks, unless you're just really comfortable with it. I only vaguely know the mist theory. I think it's somewhat involved. You'll see me use this like pogo kill trick over and over again. This was developed from multiple failed runs in the mist, so take my knowledge and use it. Finally I've made it out. And I'm gonna do a little celebratory dance here because I was fucking exhausted after that. And that is a pun intended because we are entering the exhaust organ. We're gonna fight Phantom. If you go up to the left here, there's a bench instead of going up to the right like I did. If you are missing health from the mist, or if you take damage during this steam platforming section, definitely go back to that bench and sit at it because you're gonna need the health. Not saying that Phantom is like the hardest boss, but in the second phase, she does a lot of difficult to dodge attacks in a row. They're pretty hard to see. I collect this silk over here because it's just nice to have that little bit extra. When she starts the fight, you'll see 2 vertical columns of steam, one in the middle and then one to the left. So just wait to the right side of the room at the start. Phantom has, she's kind of similar to Lace. She has a few different attacks that she used in the first phase. She has the same kind of counter move. And you have to jump over when you hit the counter. She'll do a, when she holds her pin with 2 hands horizontally, she's about to do 3 forward thrusts at you. Just jump over that. If you hit the counter, just jump over and float. It does 2 damage if you get hit by the cross stitch that she does, so just be real careful. When she jumps up, she can either jump up and throw the pin at you, or she can be on the ground and throw it horizontal at you, and she'll follow it. And that's one of the best moves for hitting her because you'll know early exactly where she's going. And the other move she has is this vertical column of steam. That one does 2 damage. Look for that really bright shining spot on the ground in the middle because the room is already pretty foggy. It's kind of hard to see otherwise until it's too late. So look for that. When she jumps away and disappears, look for that little tiny shining spot on the floor and run the fuck away from that. Try not to get trapped in the corner with it either because there's no escape if you get stuck next to the wall. In the second phase, she'll do this attack 5 times, I think 5. And you can hit the Silk Spear on it if you're really ballsy, but honestly just dodge it. Like, that move is a run ender. If you get trapped in the corner and get hit a couple times by it, you just lose. So definitely dodge that. I try to just like dodge 1 attack and then attack once or twice if it's this move right here. Two hits on that if you space it correctly. Right where she lands, you can hit her twice. Yeah, and then you press the Silk Spear button here, parry, and kill her with it. And you can cross stitch. Cross stitch is going to be super useful for a couple fights, namely the Cogwork dancers and Trobbio. Cogwork dancers, sometimes you get trapped in a corner or whatever. It's not impossible to dodge just using like your jump and your wall jump and float or whatever, but it's really helpful to have the get out of jail free button when they trap you and it's like coming at you fast in like the second or the third phase. It also does pretty good damage, and I think it's a little easier to hit on the Cogwork dancers and Trobbio than the Silk Spear, just because they kind of have a lot of verticality to those fights. But now that we've killed Phantom here, we can go into the Citadel and start Act 2. Not a terrible time, but also not a good time because of the mist, especially. Here I pick up this memory locket, optional. Really not gonna be super helpful. Make sure you buy this Bellway. Very important, again. It's equally important as the Bellheart's Bellway. Make sure you unlock both of those because you're gonna need to use one to get to the other. The Citadel is really pretty and the music is beautiful. Unfortunately, you won't really be able to enjoy that on a Steel Soul run. By this point, you're going to have probably a decent amount of anxiety and adrenaline and nerves to deal with because you're about 45 minutes into a run here if you're going at like a decent pace, and losing at this point can be pretty painful. It's not like the worst thing ever if you haven't lost a ton on Steel Soul, but doing that first like 5-10 minutes of the game where you have all those cutscenes and like boring bosses, because they're meant to be like tutorials basically, it can be pretty brutal to have to replay that over and over again. So that's why I'm choosing to kind of speedrun it, so that I don't lose as much time when I die. Here you can do the same trick as the bell rooms. You hit the lever and leave the room and come back, and it will move this contraption into place instantly off screen. Saves a little time. Make sure you wait in this room. If you try to run through this room too fast, you will get hit by the steam. It does a lot of damage, and then you'll have to take the Songclave bench, which takes forever. You can go to the right there on that room and activate the Songclave bench if you're missing health. Here, stop when you get to these guys. Don't sprint jump because it takes you at kind of like a shallower angle. Just stop fully and then jump to your full height, pogo, and then dash, and you'll never get hit by those guys because they have a really lengthy sort of activating window where they don't attack. Here you can stand right where I was swinging to get damaged and skip the roar. You can DPS them during that phase if you're trying to really do this fight fast. I like to parry when they come down because when they hit the floor, their attacks do like this wide sweep next to them. So it's good to stay away from that or parry it. Here I'm just hitting the one on the right. The one on the right that comes out, and then after they do this little like slash the whole room move, I'm just assuming it's the one on the right. So I'm trying to track the same one. They don't have a shared health bar, and you only need to hit one to phase change it. So I'm gonna track the one on the right. And then in the second phase, they're just faster. They do the same thing. They'll show the little lines where they attack and then dash. It does 2 damage. Be super careful here. It is a really easy fight once you know how it works, but still really scary when you get that 2 damage. Especially when they're really far away from each other, you get focused on one and then the other one hits you. You have to make sure you're keeping your eyes on both of them at all times. Obviously it's a duo boss, so. This second phase is the hardest one. The third phase, when they're separated, you can kind of switch your focus between the two as they alternate attacks. But in the second phase, like the first, they're still synced up, but it's just faster. The third phase is it gives you less like breathing room to heal, but it's a lot easier to track both of them. So you'll see I get in the way of the down slash there and activate the parry. I tried to do it there, but I mistimed it. And don't be afraid to heal in this fight. Just make sure you get to a safe spot. Wait until they show where they're going, and don't just try to like panic heal because they might run into you. That's where the warding bell helps. If they do hit your heal, you don't like instantly lose. Just gotta stay really patient and calm. Even though it's super hard on Steel Soul, just always stay as patient with your damage windows and healing windows and very calm when you're dodging attacks, and you will do a lot better than if you're like tweaking all the time on your adrenaline. Last phase is really easy. I'm being kind of careless because it's basically impossible to die on this phase. I'm sure someone has, but not me. Here I'm gonna pause this. I'm going for a water break here, so made sure to do like a very unique pose so that it's obvious that I'm not like splicing the run or anything. Sometimes you just gotta stay hydrated, right? Again, really high pressure. It's good to like pause, take a second, refresh, you know, get back into the zone essentially. Okay, so back to it. You have to wait for this room to flip around, and it takes a while. You can, again, save quit here, and it will instantly put the cage into place, the cage elevator. And it saves time, but for the however many times I've said this, I'm not save quitting at all, just on principle. You don't have to do it that way, obviously. I just thought it would be a fun challenge. So here you can take the bench in this room to the left. If you're full health, you don't need it, fine, but take it if you want, especially if you're planning on save quitting here if you get stuck in the platforming with no health. If you get these guys close enough together, they'll bump into each other when they try to attack you. That's a pretty convenient scenario. Here, land on the platform to the right. You can farm this guy for silk, get rid of him, whatever. This is just straightforward platforming stuff. You can watch my route if you want to copy it, but it's not particularly optimized or anything. Just being comfortable with that pogo is good enough to get you through it. Here we're gonna activate this revolving circular hallway thing again and leave the room and come back just like we did before to get it to instantly move, because it takes a while if you wait for it. Here we're moving above the Whispering Vaults. And to enter the Whispering Vaults, where you get the first melody, you have to defeat this little gauntlet. And remember, you'll still have the cross stitch at this point, so use it liberally. It's very helpful when you have like 3-4 enemies attacking you all at the same time. It damages all the enemies close to you. It helps you avoid damage. It's well worth the silk that you spend on it. Take your time though. Like, this gauntlet is fairly easy. There aren't a lot of scary enemies in it, and there are really dumb, big, slow enemies that you can farm for silk. The really scary ones that you have to watch out for are the little bell throwing ones and the little pin knights. Those guys can deal 2 damage with some of their moves, and they cover a decent area. So I always try to get rid of the little flying guys first, just to give myself like an option to jump above all the attacks if I need to. All the grounded enemies you can kind of sit on the wall and dodge, or like jump over and dash over. But the flying enemies kind of eat up a lot of your space to dodge, so I try to just go after them as quickly as possible without getting hit, obviously. This guy's pretty easy. Just wait until he does his like dash across the whole room move, and you can either jump over it and hit him from behind or parry him. He doesn't have that much health. But there you go. You've gained access to the Whispering Vaults. And now we're going to get the second needle upgrade. It's the only other upgrade that we will be getting for the rest of the run. So treasure it. Here, jump over that guy, pogo him if it helps. Those guys deal 2 damage when they hit you, so be super careful. This enemy here can be pogoed off of to skip this room. Minor time save. He also does 2 damage because he's large, so be careful. If you pogo off of him though, you skip the room. Here's the little puzzle room. Just basically hit all these blocks that I hit. There's not really a way to mess this up. It's not much of a puzzle. You just have to know which ones are movable, so you can see the solution here. And this will give you the pale oil. Lets you take your needle damage up another notch. So the first needle upgrade basically doubles your damage. It takes it from 5 to 9. So it's really good and important. Don't forget the first upgrade. The second upgrade is not as important. You can skip it if you want. I don't know what the current speedruns are doing, but for my money on Steel Soul, I'm getting the fucking upgrade because it's just gonna help you survive better. Especially like the High Halls Gauntlet, you're gonna want it. So just path over to the left, go up a little bit. This is going to take you to Trobbio's boss fight. You want to path through this room. You don't want to fight Trobbio. You want to get the needle upgrade first. So you can skip doing his boss fight for now by falling down and going left. You unlock this one-way shortcut, and this will take you back to the first room of the Citadel. You go to the Grand Bellway station and ride the giant creature bus over to Bellheart, and then give the oil to the Pin Master, get your second upgrade. That takes your needle damage from 9 to 13, I believe. So just like a 50% damage increase. Enemies have like scaling defense with your needle upgrade, so it's not quite like a 50% increase, but it still takes one fewer hit to kill a lot of important enemies in the gauntlets and stuff, so you definitely want it. Just get it. This is a really fun cutscene where he touches the needle and his little hair comes off. Ooh, that's sharp. That's sharp. Yeah, okay. So now you've got the tier 3 needle. It's as good as it's gonna get. If you want, you can take optional upgrades for mask shards, silk spools, silk skills, tools, needle upgrades, whatever, if you want. I don't do that here because, again, this took like dozens of attempts for me. I've had runs where I try to go get the Wanderer's Crest, make the fights a little easier, and it does make it easier, but it just takes all the more time to do your runs. So eventually I just settled on doing like a speedrun route and accepting that it was going to take me quite a few tries. Make sure that you keep your cross-stitch silk skill for Trobbio. Very useful. He comes out of the middle here with fireworks. Don't stand next to him, be careful. He has a few moves. He'll do Tornado, which is a really good move to use cross-stitch on because it's kind of hard to dodge the little tornadoes that come out after the move's over. Then he throws these bouncing balls that explode horizontally or vertically. You can hit the balls with the needle to knock them away if they're trapping you. That move is super scary though. I've honestly died in like 2 seconds to getting like comboed by the bouncing balls. They seem to explode and bounce and do the direction randomly or whatever. I don't really see any consistent pattern to it, so just a very scary move for him to spam. It's good if he spams a lot of tornadoes and you can get the cross stitch off. The other move in the first phase is the fireworks. That one's really straightforward. It takes a long time for them to appear. Just know that like you have to wait until all of them appear before you try to heal or damage him, because you don't want to get stuck where one starts to appear right on top of you when you heal. So just be patient again. Here I get lucky avoiding the balls. Yeah, gotta respect the fireworks. You can pogo off him during the tornado. Make sure you stay either right above him or far away from him at the end of it, because those little tornadoes come off they curve upwards, and that's a good move to parry. Parry the little 2 tornadoes that come out the side and go upwards, and then all your hits from your cross stitch will hit him and do a lot of damage, like this right here. This is a very good time to parry. Yeah, see, we're just laying on the DPS here. He does it 3 times in a row, and that just does a ton of damage to him. Thankfully, he's spamming Tornado and Fireworks this fight instead of spamming the bouncing balls. In the last phase, or the second phase I should say, second and last, he gets this little firework move coming from the floor. He'll come out of the last one. Just make sure you, when you see the floor come up a little bit, the floorboards, just don't stand on it. And he does this cute little firework celebration. Here I'm gonna pick up the claw mirror, and that's why I got the memory locket. It's also to show you, like, if you want another tool, like multi-binder would be super helpful with Warding Bell, for instance, and you can buy that from the Bellheart merchant. That will give you the extra blue slot to put that tool in. Here I'm going to hit the elevator right as I'm able to get off of it so that it opens up that bottom pathway there, and then go to the left. This is where we're going to get the claw line, and it's also where the architect is. If you want the architect's crest or like all the tools from there, optionally, if you have craft metal and stuff like that, you can buy that stuff. I'm just skipping it because I'm speedrunning right now. I'm going to equip the claw mirror after using the memory locket. This claw mirror doesn't really help you at all. It has such a short range around you. You should not really try to use it to hit enemies. I just equip it for fun, basically. Be really careful falling through this room. There's lava at the bottom, does 2 damage. These little floating enemies you kill in 1 hit. And the exploding ones you kill in 2. Make sure you don't get next to the wall where you hit them. I was rushing through here and took lava damage, but it's okay if you get hit once here. Really try not to get hit twice though, because you're in the danger zone after that. Those guys explode when they hit the lava, I think, so just be really careful of where you knock them. There's a couple easy enemies you can farm for Silk. Just be really patient here. You can wait a few cycles. Oh, on this last little jump, the exploding guy spawns on the left. Make sure that you wait for him to spawn before you try to do the rest of the platform, because if he hits you into the lava, you take 4 damage. One from, you know, 1 hit from the explosion does 2, and the lava does 2, and then you're 1 hit away from death, so super scary. We'll just sprint jump across the platforms here, get the claw line. Pretty standard. Here, flashbang incoming. Close your eyes. I warned you. And there it is. Okay, you can open your eyes. This is one of my favorite skills, or like abilities in this game. It feels very satisfying to use. They really cooked with this, to be honest. It's so much better than Crystal Dash, it's not even funny. Like, this game is a fucking masterpiece. It's just so fun. You can use it on the little rings and these enemies to get you up to this gauntlet. If you get in here fast enough, that guy won't follow you in. He really tries though, so if you're not comfortable getting here really fast, just kill him before you come in. These guys you can jump over everything they have. The first 2 guys are pretty easy. And then it's going to spawn these exploding suicide bomber things. If you grapple hook into them, it does the 2 hits that will knock them into the wall. Just wait until they get away from the wall. Don't use it immediately or you'll blow yourself up. You have to just wait a slight amount until they come away from the wall. You can also hit them twice with the needle if you want to farm Silk. Here I'm going to cross-stitch this guy as he comes down from the ceiling. And then you can just attack him and kill him really fast. And then I'll spawn 2 more of these bomb carriers. Just do the little grapple hook trick. Again, make sure that you wait just a little bit so they get away from the wall. Otherwise you'll blow yourself up. And then we're going to go all the way back to that elevator where we just came down. And go underneath the elevator. That's why we sent it back up. I'm going to kill this guy just to be extra safe, because he gets in the way. And then I'm gonna climb up back to the elevator room, and this is where we're gonna get our first of the 3 melodies that will let us fight the final boss. So some platforming here. These guys come down from the ceiling really fast and do 2 damage. Make sure that you move under their areas of effect very quickly, or you will end up getting into trouble here. You can pogo off all the spikes that are made out of metal in this game, and also claw line into them, and saws as well. Make sure you take advantage of that. It allows you to skip a lot of platforming and just be extra safe. So like if you're about to fall on spikes, you just pogo and now you're not going to take damage. So very useful thing to learn. And here we go, Sacred Cylinder. This has the first of the 3 melodies, the Vault Keeper melody. Watch out for that guy falls from the ceiling, is really annoying. You can see it's really easy to take damage there. If you go to the right of where you pick up that Psalm Cylinder, there is a bench in there. So if you're missing health from the platforming and those little like Weaver guys that come down from the ceiling and do 2 damage, you can go to the right before you pick up the Psalm Cylinder and sit at the bench there for safety. But I was full health, so I skipped it. And here you'll just platform back to the top of Whispering Vaults using all the one-way shortcuts. Go into the Vault Keeper's room and have him play the cylinder for you, and that's where you learn the melody. There's also a bench above his room here, and I am going to take that one because one of those cone hat guys hit me twice at the bottom. So I'm just going to heal up before I go and do the High Halls. Gauntlet is next after this. You have to... Well, you can also do the Cogwork core. I recommend on the Steel Soul run, don't waste your time with the Cogwork core second, even if it's optimal for pathing or whatever. Because if you lose to this part of the game, it's going to be in the High Halls Gauntlet, so just get it out of the way first. That way you don't have to redo the platforming section over and over again. Unless you're just not comfortable with it. I mean, if you think the High Halls Gauntlet is easier then Cogwork Core, then be my guest and do Cogwork Core first. But I recommend doing the High Halls Gauntlet first. So that's why I want to take the bench in there, just because there's some like slightly difficult platforming through Cogwork Core to get back to the Citadel where the High Halls is. So I'm just gonna take that bench. I took that bench in the Vault Keeper's room, right above him, just to heal. And here, now that you have the grappling hook, the claw line, you can just skip a lot of this platforming. You'll see me use it somewhat liberally here. You can use it on the saw blades, and it will not damage you. If you hit the side of them, it'll bounce you off. Here I'm just waiting another cycle just to be extra safe. Just because there's no reason, at this point in the run, you're, what, like an hour into the run, there's just no reason to risk dying for something like slight optimizations on platforming or whatever. Just take your time. Like, you really don't want to get stuck in Cogwork Core with no health, where you have to do the platforming successfully or lose your hour-long run. Again, these guys, make sure you stop sprinting before you try to jump over them, then jump, pogo, and dash. Jump down the hole here. There's enemies in this room here, a lot of enemies that you'll have to dodge on the way to High Halls, so just pay attention to all their locations here, and you can farm them for silk or whatever. Just be very careful not to rush too fast through this spot. It's really easy to take a lot of like chip damage as you move through these rooms. Yeah, you can pogo off this guy if you want. These little alternating platforms you can almost entirely just ignore, because now that you have the wall jump and the grapple hook and everything, you kind of just don't care. Make sure you kill this bell guy. He's gonna be like a pain in your ass the whole time that you're trying to climb through this room. Just kill this bell throwing enemy. Even if you take some damage for it, it's worth it. Just heal the damage off of the other easier enemies. Yeah, kill the bell guy. He can knock you into spikes, and he's really annoying. Here, just jump over all the enemies. There is a bench here to the left, right when you enter High Halls. Take this bench if you're not planning on quitting to bench to get back to the Cogwork Core. If you're not interested in speedrunning for the fastest possible time, then this will be a good place to get your health back. If you're doing the Steel Soul challenge like I am, where I'm trying to avoid quitting. Here, just run underneath that guy when he stands up. Ride the little Ferris wheel. This part's fun. It's impossible for me at this point to not just be fucking trembling, because I know what's coming. I'm gonna practice a little bit on this guy. The High Halls Gauntlet throws lots of these things at you with lots of other enemies, so I'm just gonna refresh myself on the moveset. They have two moves. They'll do like a pretty short range like head swing at you, and then they'll parry. Sometimes. Make sure you don't hit their parry. They'll do this wide sweeping move that does 2 damage and covers a lot. I just run past the conductor guys. Luckily I didn't get hit there. I'm waiting for my silk to regen, and then I'm just gonna immediately sprint, jump, and claw line past those 2 like weird helmet enemies. You can activate these little mechanisms, I guess, by using the grapple hook on them and waiting until your weight pulls them down. And that'll unlock the spike floors for you to fall through. Just float gently and carefully all the way down here. You can take some damage here. It's not the end of the world. There is a bench immediately to the right down here where the adventure cut is. So sit at the bench. I like using Silk Spear for the High Halls Gauntlet. It's personal preference at the end of the day, but Silk Spear allows you to get rid of those flying enemies and hits a bigger area and does more damage. So it's good for killing a lot of enemies quickly. The cross stitch is good for safety. There's no great advice I can give you for the High Halls Gauntlet. This is just going to be learn all of these enemies' movesets in and out. Be extremely, extremely careful. Always try to stay topped off at full health when you can between waves and such. When there's one enemy left, farm it for silk and heal yourself. Just be so careful here. This is by far the thing that I lost to the most, and I think even speedrunners probably die to this somewhat often. I always go after these bell throwing enemies and the silk stealing spider enemies first because they are really unpredictable. The silk stealing spiders have 2 moves. They have the little claw slash. They do a 2-part slash that does 2 damage, and they steal your silk and run away from you and shoot a giant exploding silk spear at you. Just try to kill them before they can steal your silk and do the silk spear. But at the end of the day, if you can't, don't rush. Don't rush and take damage trying to take them out unless you know you can heal it afterwards. Here you can kind of bait these guys up and down and then go either above them or below them. I'm trying to farm for a heal here, that's why I'm not silk spearing. But if you hit the spider guys and then silk spear them, it kills them faster, so I definitely recommend that. These 2, like the conductors, it's really good to farm for silk because they really only have like 1 move that'll ever hit you. If you sit right underneath them, they send out their cogfly and it just never hits you. The only thing that you sort of have to watch out for is when there's 2 of them is you sometimes have to jump over the one that you're not attacking, cogfly that's sliding along the floor. This enemy is somewhat trivial on its own, but in the last wave there's 2 of them. Just make sure you stay way the fuck out of the way of his big swings. I usually only go for like 1 or maybe 2 hits and then just run away and wait to see what attack it's going to use. Again, killing the bell throwing enemy first and silk spearing these flying enemies that they can parry and do 2 damage with their counter attack. They can just be quite annoying, especially when there's multiple flying enemies. So I just try to take them out quickly. I have sort of like a priority system informally where I go after like the most dangerous flying enemies and then the most dangerous ground enemies and then the rest of the flying enemies and then the rest of the ground enemies. That's kind of my thought process, but you know, whatever works for you. At this point in the game, if you're attempting Steel Soul speedrun, you probably know what works for you in the gauntlets, so just do that. Here, I recommend definitely take out the Flying Pin Knight first. He has less health, and he has more moves. So you can, you know, maybe get hit once or twice taking him out, and then just farm silk off of this guy and make sure you heal at full health. The next wave after him will be the 2 big chunguses at the same time. And this shit is scary. They can cover like the whole arena. So again, just maybe 1 or 2 hits and then get the fuck out. And you can claw line over them like that to avoid damage, pogo off of them. Just be really careful. If you get hit, do not fucking panic. Like just here, I'm panicking. Don't do this. I know it's like way easier said than done. Just breathe. Like here, you see, I'm going for my 1 hit and get out, 1 hit and get out. I'm trying to build, now that they're both on the same side of me, just trying to stay patient, build the silk up and heal. And just don't get flustered. Even when you're gonna inevitably like take damage like this, it's really hard to not get hit at all when there's 2 of them. And I'm down to 1 health. Like I'm shitting my pants here, but I'm just trying to take it really slow. Just breathe. Like you have way more time than you think you do. Don't rush in at them. Don't dash at them like that and take combat damage. Like just don't be fucking stupid, basically. It's really easier said than done. But the good news is you only have to beat this High Hall's Gauntlet once ever, because everything after it is so much easier. Once you beat the High Hall's Gauntlet, you're basically home free if you have practiced Lace 2. Lace 2 can cheese you like really quickly if you don't know her moves or you're not patient. But practice Lace 2, practice Grandmother Silk, like the final boss, you know, get the Cursed Child achievement where you have to beat Grandmother Silk without healing a single time, right? With the Cursed Crest before you get the witch one cured and whatever, right? Like do that. Make sure you're really, really comfortable before you attempt this Steel Soul speedrun with Lace 2, Grandmother Silk, like all the bosses, honestly. If you can practice them on normal speed, or not, sorry, like not a normal speedrun, but like a non-Steel Soul speedrun or whatever, right? Just practice. And that way, when you put like an hour and a half into your Steel Soul run, you don't just get cooked and die like on the last or second to last boss. It's really painful at that point to lose, and the nerves will be really high. So the more you practice and you just like you've got them downloaded, the better. I got the second malady from the conductor after the high halls, and now I'm going for the last one, the architect one. You have to do the Cogwork core platforming. You need the claw line for this. If you bounce off that guy, you can claw line into these gears and skip large sections. At some point though, I'm gonna take a lot of damage here. I try to do this little skip here and fail, so I just decided to do it normally. And I'm gonna take a lot of damage in this area at some point and get down to 2 health. Very scary, so I just decided to stop doing all the skips, do it normally. The normal way is easier and more consistent. It requires a lot less precision and a lot less like tight timing moves. So just if you end up getting into trouble, just go like default back to doing it the normal way, or start that way from the beginning. Here you can bait the enemies over to the left side of this and then stand underneath them, hit them through the floor. Really safe way to build up silk. Here you might as well heal, because the instant that you use claw line, you're not going to be able to heal anymore. So even if you're only missing 1 health, just go ahead and heal. And you can see I'm skipping this area with the harpoon, the claw line. Just be really careful. I try this and fail once, and I'm like, okay, well I still have a lot of health. I'm gonna try again. But remember, for some reason it doesn't pogo me off those spikes there, and now I'm in like a really dangerous situation where, like, I'm on 3 health. I really don't want to get hit again. Super dangerous to take more damage here. So I'm gonna be extra patient. There we go. Successful pogo that time. For whatever reason, the first time it didn't work. I was gonna try to farm this guy for silk, but I realized that I'm not gonna be able to heal for the rest of this area. So I'm now down to 2 health after taking damage from that enemy. He just happened to come down at the wrong time. And now I'm really cooked. So you have to get through this part without healing, yes. But then you also have to come all the way back down after you learn the Architect's Melody at the top. So if you're missing health, your health isn't just for the way up. There's no bench here at the top. You have to also go down with the same amount of health if you don't save quit. You can save quit after you get the Architect Melody, and that will bring you back to full health. Similarly, like in Act 3, where you first like trigger Act 3 and you have to come down through all the platforming with the spikes and everything, and you only have 4 health. No matter how much max health you have, you'll have 4 because you get left with 1, and then you have to bind for 3, and it removes all of your tools, I believe, as well. I'm not positive on that, but basically if you save quit there at the Act 3 as well, you'll get full health. So if you're ever in like one of these kind of cinematic parts where it doesn't want to give you full health, you can just save quit. But I'm not doing that this time, and I didn't do it on my 100% Steel Soul run either for that part at the start of Act 3. Thank God I ended up not dying there. That would have been crushing. That would be like 15 hours in at that point. And here I try to do the top ones first, match up the top ones, and then I don't need those platforms because the platforms go away once you finish one. So I try to do all the top 2 for all of them, so that I don't need the platforms for the rest of it. I don't really know like how many times that I have to hit each of these. Speedrunners know all that. If you want to save a couple minutes here, like definitely that's worth learning, but I am not a speedrunner, like I said. This is just a guide of how to do a speedrun route for Steel Soul specifically without saving and quitting. So now you've matched all the little puzzles together. You get the 3rd melody, the 3rd and final melody, and you'll have to descend through the Cogwork core with whatever health that you made it up here with. For me, that's 2. Really scary. This is like a butthole clenching part of the run. Very, very scary. What I'm going to do to mitigate the risk is I'm gonna take it super slow. I'm gonna float down gently. I'm gonna pogo off of the spikes when I'm about to hit them. I'm gonna give the enemies a wide berth, and where I can, I'm gonna farm the enemies for a heal. Like I showed you before, you bait those enemies over to the left of that platform and you can stand underneath them and hit them from the floor. I'm gonna do that to get my health back here. That's a good spot to heal. So you see, just look, I see the cog in the way. I'm gonna stall on the wall for a little bit. Here I'm just very gently floating out. There's the enemies. This guy does the steam. It does 2 damage. I could have died there. That was super, super scary for me. I was pissing my pants there, I'm not gonna lie. Thankfully, their attack is pretty slow. Not that I knew that at the time, but yeah, very, very scary. So you can get the heal off there, and then the rest of it is trivial. Just, again, give the enemies a wide berth, be super careful, float gently and slowly on the way down, right? You can flare your cloak out multiple times to kind of slow your descent. And now, breathe. You have to breathe here, because when you skip this cutscene, it's gonna toss you straight into Lace 2, and Lace 2 is fast. Like, she's not super hard. Her moves are very consistent and predictable. She has obvious tells for them, but she is fast. So you've got to be locked the fuck in. You have to know all the attacks. And this is a guide, so I'm going to tell you all of her attacks and walk you through how to deal with each one. But yeah, as soon as you play the melody for these statues, take the elevator right into Lace 2 and then the final boss. So make sure you take a break, get some water, calm yourself, because you need to lock the fuck in here. This is the scariest part besides the High Halls Gauntlet. 2 bosses back to back that were meant to be fought with more damage, more tools, more health, more silk, right? Like, this is tough. This is gonna be fucking hard. So, lock in. Lace 2 is very similar to Lace 1 in the first phase. She's faster, but she has the same moves. The main difference is that she has an alternate version of her counter attack. When she holds up her needle and it does the chink sound and she has it held diagonal, she's parrying, she will sometimes jump into the air and do like a diagonal downwards counter. But here again, when she puts her needle out straight in front of her, she'll dash forward. When she puts it behind her and crouches, she'll jump, do the triangle jump. And here's the diagonal counter, like I said. It's the same response either way. When you hit the counter, jump. If she does the ground one, dash behind her. If she does the air one, dash away from her. Yeah, and when she puts the needle down in front of her at a slight angle, she'll do the approaching slashes. And all of her moves here are going to deal 2 damage, or at least a lot of them will. Second phase, she'll immediately always start with this same triangle jump move again. Now it has after images that do 2 damage. So again, just sit right in the middle under the apex of the triangle jump. You can jump and hit her at the top and hit her once at the bottom as well. That's what I like to do. This is just a very safe way to fight her. I'm sure there's a much faster way to kill her. I don't care about that. I'm trying just not to lose my Steel Soul run here. So, very patient. What you do is essentially, if it's any move, you wait for a move. If it's any move but the triangle jump, you jump over it. If it's the triangle jump, you just stand still at a medium distance. And then after the move, there's an appropriate window to hit her, and you only go for the hits that you can get. Here is phase 3. She'll immediately scream and then do 2 of these big circular moves, like how she did in the first fight. Those just get out of the way. And that's a good window. After she does, she'll always do 2 of those big circular slash moves. And that's a good time to sort of hit her after the second one, especially. There's a good damage window. Just make sure you wait until it's fully over. But yeah, if you play it this way, where you dodge one move and then you hit, dodge one move and then you hit, right? That is the safest way to beat this boss. Don't try to do any bullshit of like climbing up on the walls on the side, because she can jump up with her triangle jump and just immediately cook you up there. So like, don't try to cheese it. Practice it on a different run if you need to. Get really, really comfortable with standing there at medium distance right in front of her and just wait for the attack. Look at the tail. Look how she positions her body and her needle. Jump or not appropriately to the attack, right? Anything but the triangle jump. Jump over it. Triangle jump. All you have to do is stand there. So really what you should be looking for is it the triangle jump? And if so, just don't do anything. If it's not, jump over it, right? Very simple formula. And then hit her once after she does her attack. Don't hit her twice because she will counter. And the counter can be pretty difficult to react to. Anyways, that's my advice. For Lace 2, do the little platforming thing, get the second silk heart. Finally, after you're almost done with the game, now you only have to hit the enemy 7 times to heal if you wait long enough. Wow, that's so helpful. But in all seriousness, it will let you use your silk skills a lot more often and your harpoon as well a lot more often. So again, if you haven't already like started tweaking at this point, you have great nerves, I guess, but I was tweaking here. This is the first time I had made it past Lace 2 in like the no quit Steel Soul scenario. If you fuck up that platform, you have to go to the right if you don't have double jump and wall jump off the side. I didn't know that, but I just found that out. Usually I have double jump by this point, so anyways. Get up to Grandmother Silk. Make sure that you really got this boss down before you challenge it. You really don't want to lose here. Again, it's an hour and a half of your time that you're not going to get back. And especially if you die to it more than once, it's just going to be painful. Take a deep breath. Do the practice beforehand. Right when this happens, take a deep breath. Stay patient. Above all else, dodge. And I know it's way easier said than done. Again, my nerves were going crazy here. I was tweaking. I was so scared of getting hit. And it ended up making me take more damage than I otherwise would have. As you can see, I start out the fight pretty good. The first time that I take damage, I freak the fuck out and I just take more and more damage. You have to watch out for that like death spiral of I'm getting comboed and it's hitting me for 2 damage, I'm about to die. So I get hit here, really fucking scary, right? You just have to focus on dodging. I don't think I need to explain Grandmother Silk's moves and how to dodge them to you. If you've beat Hollow Knight 1 and like the Radiance fight, this will be really familiar to you. In the first phase, she'll just do 2, a horizontal and a vertical needle thing, 3 and 3. In the second phase, she'll do like you know, 1 horizontal, 1 vertical, 1 horizontal or whatever, and she'll do 2 of these silk grab moves. Unfortunately, I got hit there, down to 1 health, super scary. But remember, stay patient, calm, focus on dodging, stay locked the fuck in. Second phase, like here, or like I guess third phase, she has like a mini phase change where she starts doing more of the scissor moves, like 3 instead of 2 in a row. She'll start dropping rocks now, and she'll also pull spikes up from the ground. The rocks are pretty easy to dodge, obviously. Here I lucked out, I got the heal off and then got hit. That's what I was talking about, the warding belt coming in super clutch. I still would have lived, but would have been a lot scarier. Oh, the other move she has is this little claw slash. She hits like on the side of the arena that she's at when she starts it, but in the middle it only covers like the floor level. Just jump over it and dodge the vertical needles. She'll drop 6 of those little scissors, all 6 of them vertically. So jump over it and then slightly reposition with the float to dodge the vertical ones. And here, like I said, you'll see the spikes come out of the ground. You can pogo them. They're indicated by the tiny little silk things. Here, yeah, the cross thread move, definitely dodge that, does 3 damage. So it's hard to dodge without double jump when she does 2 of them in a row. Sometimes you get unlucky, but that's what your heal is for, right? So yeah, 2 hits on the spikes will get rid of them. Make sure you clean them up. Stay patient. Just dodge. As soon as she starts an attack, you should only be worried about dodging. And then after the attack is over, then you can deal your damage. But the instant that she starts an attack, drop everything and just fucking dodge. And here, like I said, without the double jump, sometimes you just get like straight up cheesed by that move, and that's why it's really important to stay at full health and not get hit by any of the other easier moves. A lot of people say that this fight's really easy. They're right that for a final boss it's pretty easy, but Hollow Knight was also pretty easy. And this is not like the real final boss of the game, so in my opinion, doing this boss with 5 masks is fucking scary. No double jump, 5 masks, no tools. This shit's scary. So make sure you've got it really, really down. But then that's it. You've won your Steel Soul no quitting to bench speedrun. You'll get 2 achievements for it if you don't have them already. You get the speedrun and the Steel Soul. And then if you want, you can continue now that you've unlocked everything. I guess if you're doing the 100% the Steel Heart, it would be best to do this as soon as you get into Act 2. Run around and collect all the upgrades, and then do the High Halls and the Cogwork Core and these 2 fights, Lace 2 and Grandmother Silk. Like, save those for last, because that shit's scary. Get all the mask upgrades if you're going for Steel Heart and whatever, right? But yeah, for Steel Soul and for speedrun, this is the best way that I know how to do it. And I like I said, I don't think most players are doing it this way. So only do it this way if you really want a challenge. It's kind of the same as a speedrun in that, like, obviously dying in a speedrun is bad. It wastes time. But it's just another level of anxiety or stress or adrenaline or whatever, all that stuff. When you know that if you die, you don't lose a couple minutes off your time. It doesn't affect your score. It affects whether or not you even have done it. And you have to start all the way over from the beginning. So once you get here, see the credits, you will be shaking, right? You'll be tweaking, but you finally fucking did it. Again, took me dozens of tries. It's gonna be really hard. Not to brag, but I'm pretty good at these kinds of games, and this was definitely like one of the hardest things that I've done in a video game. Sort of similar to Pantheon 5, Absolute Radiance, Hitless, or whatever, right? Like, all that kind of stuff from Hollow Knight. It's on the same tier as that kind of thing. Maybe even harder, honestly. Just because you have to be so consistent for so long, like an hour plus of time where you're just locked in, right? And the first half of the game, like, listen to podcasts or whatever when it gets boring. That's what I did. And then once you get to like Widow and like everything in Act 2, just you've got to lock the fuck in. There's no way around it. Now, there you go. And this video is meant to serve as a guide and also proof that I completed this Steel Soul run without quitting out a single time. 0 deaths, 0 quits. Holy shit. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. And I hope this helps you on your journey with the boss guides and like the route and everything and the little skips. That's all. Thank you.